Hi, my name's Freya. I'm a ceramicist and some sort of clay artist. I'm from London. I'm pretty much into sharing the craft and all of its life lessons that it's taught me. It's a very therapeutic art form, and today I'm going to show you how to do some throwing on the wheel. We're going to start off kneading the clay. I'm going to stretch the wall up into a cylindrical shape, which is our master form when we're learning to use the wheel. To start with, I'm going to show you how to do some kneading. So I'm just going to get a good sized lump. I'll start with ram's head. This technique is called ram's head or ox head. The idea, it's got these horns and your hands are on the horns. So you push your palms in to leave the little shallow divots. You bring it all the way up on its tongue. Adjust your hands so that you've got the momentum to push back down away from you. And when you push it back down away from you, it's just this little fold that you want to achieve, and you do it again and again. So that's the ram's head technique. And then there's one that's slightly different, that looks a bit like a shell or yes, a spiral shape. I'll show you this one. You start with a ball shape. So shallow palm dent. Bring it towards you on its nose, and you turn it a little bit and you push back down away from you. Bring it forward, turn it a little bit, back down away from you. Then when you're ready, you're going to round up your clay. You knead it into a ball. You do smaller and smaller folds, sort of blending it in. So you've got a solid lump, and then we're going to use a wire to cut it into pieces. And when you're practicing in the early stages, it's best to use a size that suits your hand shape. Here we are on the wheel. I'm going to put a little bit of moisture on my wooden board so that the clay sticks, and you want to get it in the middle and push to get it stuck on. I'm going to seal it at the bottom there so that when I add water, the water doesn't go underneath and slide it off. So to start with, we're going to centre the clay by coning up and down. Cone up by squeezing the clay up, and that stretches it out. It adds water to your clay, softens it down if you're using a little bit of a stiffer clay that you want to break down. But when you push the cone down, you guide it into the middle. If you put your wrists together like that, slide back or get it so you're leaning on the basin. And you're going to use your body weight to push away from you and squeeze back with your fingers to cone up. Now when you squeeze the clay, it's got to go somewhere, so you guide it, and as it moves up, you follow behind it like that. You stretch the clay out into this cone shape, and what it does is it gets all the clay actually turning in the same direction. So you cone up, you stretch it up and out, and as you push it back down, you can lock this hand into the side, using your palm to push it down and away from you. And then you're going to use the top bit to flatten the top. And you squeeze your hands and push down at the same time. So when you're doing taller and narrow forms, you can push a little bit harder there and have your dome a little bit more oblong shaped. So this is actually the size of your base that you're starting with. If you're going to do a low flat piece, you want to push your dome of clay a bit flatter like that, and as wide as your base is going to be. Get rid of the little skirt of clay at the bottom. And that's quite important because you actually want your hand to sit flush. So you need to be the still one. This is doing the moving. So everything you do is actually quite still. You hold the position, and let the clay respond to you, like cone up a little bit more and push it back down. And there's lots of ways of doing this centering thing. You can, every artist will show you maybe a slightly different take on it, but if you understand what's going on, you can make up, you can do it anyway. Now I'm going to make a hole. This is fine for me to start. I'm not really fussed about the shape. I'm going to do a cylinder. I'm going to push with my thumbs in the centre, use the tips of my thumbs, a bit like a dagger, and you go straight down the centre. If you get the centre point, it kind of sucks your thumb in a little bit like a corkscrew, a bit like a vortex. So you go all the way down, and then you want to feel about 1 centimetre of thickness at the bottom. And now I'm going to open the pot and pull it apart with my thumbs. So now I've got a thick cylinder. I can see where the walls start and finish. I've got a base there that I'm going to flatten with a sponge. I'm going to push and hold the sponge there. Now, it's important to use water to keep it sliding through your grip. So every time I let go, you just get into the habit of coming back with water. Use a sponge and squeeze it on your hand, and the water will just flow inside outside more efficiently. So when you're in mid position and it's a bit awkward, you just let go gently, squeeze water on your hand, then put your hand back where it was. Right, so I've centered it, I've opened it, and now I'm going to lift the walls up and in. Okay, so I'm going to pull the walls in a little bit and squeeze back with my thumbs in the middle, and this will give you my first lift. And then I can move on to another technique to make the walls even taller. But between every move, between every hand position, just look at it and feel your way through. You want to straighten it up all the time. So I'm just going to collar in a little bit, which is pushing the walls in and teeing off the rim like that. It's like a little pinch on the rim and pushing on the top. It's like a T. That maintains the rim as you go. So, next bit, I'm going to use a technique called the knuckle pull. There's a few ways to do this, but the knuckle pull is, I think it's a fairly traditional potter's technique. And you fold this finger down like that. So your dominant hand, I'm doing this right-handed. That's like your tool, that knuckle. It's a little bit harder and more robust. So you're going to push it on 5 o'clock on your wheel head here. That's your operation area mostly. So I'm going to fold this knuckle down at 5 o'clock, and then my fingertips on the inside. You can put 2 fingers, or I just put all of mine in because I just need the support. And they're going to go opposite the knuckle and squeeze the clay. As you squeeze it, you guide it where to go behind it, and you're going to go straight up. So you squeeze and hold. This little divot here shows me the amount of clay that I'm moving up. So I'm just going to do a little bit at a time to start with. As you get to the top, you just hold it there for a little bit, let it finish and release from the side. Try not to just come off the top rough like that, and it makes it uneven. So when you touch it and let go of it, you get used to doing it very gently so it stays where you left it, it stays centered. I'm going to collar it back in, pushing it in from the bottom all the way to the top. Sometimes you need to push the rim in a little bit. Sometimes you push the bottom in a little bit. Remove some of the excess on the bottom. See what it looks like. Feel, oh, can I do any more lifting? I probably can do another pull, but I'm going to use a rib to start with. So I'm going to use a rib to straighten it up before I carry on. And you push it in just hard enough to remove the liquid clay off the surface, the slip. So that's the wooden one. I also like using, oh, oyster card's good. Hold it on the side and gently push on the inside and work your way up. You want to do this quite slowly so you can actually catch it. Quite often people do things a bit too quick, but at the beginning do it slowly so you give your chance to learn, because you need to actually feel the nuances and respond to them. If it's too quick, it doesn't give you the chance to do that. Because sometimes you'll feel a thick bit or an uneven bit, and you're actually squeezing it all against the card. If it's uneven, you squeeze out the unevenness. It just helps you straighten up. That's a good one. So that's my cylinder. I'm going to finish this one and take all the water out of the inside. Trim the excess. Just take all the water off the surface and so it can dry out evenly. And you want to make sure there's no water on the inside, otherwise a little puddle in there will soften the clay whilst the walls are drying, and then that difference, the shrinkage difference, causes it to crack and things like that. And then you use a wire to cut it off. You put your fingers on top of the wire or your thumb, have the wire nice and straight so it doesn't go up into the pot. Sometimes people cut the whole base off. So I'm going to slide it under. Once is enough. And then I would lift that off. I'm just going to slide a knife in, twist that gently. And I would let that dry out and then carve it a leather hard stage, add handles, decorate it. But to be honest, that's the starting point. So from here, you can, once you're competent at this form, you can do vases, bowls. So thank you for watching this Mudbelly film and an intro to my little practice. And I hope you have fun doing it, explore, and yeah, just have a great time.